Tennessee Titans fans, Mel Kiper, he's weighing in about how tough it's going to be to rebuild the Tennessee Titans. And, well, I'll save my thoughts for when I hear what he has to say. Come on, Mel.
They would have the fourth pick.
And Field Yates.
Mel, I'm 100% with you. At some point this season, we will see Shedeur Sanders play. I have to believe he is.
Oh, my God. I couldn't even get 10 seconds in before they're talking about Shedeur Sanders. I should have known. If you're going to have a video with Mel Kiper on it, Shedeur Sanders is a must. You must talk about Shedeur at some point. They're talking about their top 5 most challenging NFL rebuilds right now, and they just got done talking about the Browns. So, of course, you got to talk about Shedeur.
And we'll start to get some sense of what it is they do or don't have in him. You mentioned that they have the 2 first-round picks next year, and it's also worth, I think, throwing into the conversation, the quarterbacks aside, they have a very good rookie class, right? They drafted well last year. They're getting
Harold
good
contributions.
All right, get to the Titans.
Build on the history. I'm sorry, but this actually made me laugh. And we have a magnificent tweet and
easiest rebuild, the most optimistic rebuild if you look at it from a different lens, right? If depending on how you look. So I'm trying to spin it positive for our depressed Titans fan here.
All right.
What gives you a chance in the NFL? A quarterback, right? I believe that the traits are there for Cam Ward. I am more optimistic on Cam now than when I was when he got drafted.
All right.
On top of that, the Titans, I think, deserve a lot of credit because if they hadn't taken Cam Ward, if he were in this draft coming up, we'd be talking about Cam Ward as the number 1 pick, right? Especially.
Yes, sir. That's a good point. Field, yes. You absolutely would. If Cam Ward were in this upcoming draft, for all of y'all, oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. For all of you who said, we need to just wait till next year's draft. Let's wait till next year and get our quarterback. If you had, you'd probably be sitting there waiting on Cam Ward again.
In the context of who might go and who might stay.
Even though I will give credit where it's due, Ty Simpson in Alabama is playing very well.
Top of that, Greeny, this team is projected to lead the NFL in cap space next year. They've got an opportunity to be opportunistic and trade for players if they are available.
They've got an opportunity to be opportunistic. That's a word right there.
Or sign players that help build this nucleus around Cam Ward. They have a blue chip player on defense in Jeffrey Simmons.
Hello.
You mentioned this depressed Titans fan says the one positive from this team right now, the promising draft class. What does that tell you? They got a GM in Mike Borgonzi that knows what he's doing in the most important part of team building. Drafting well. He was with Kansas City, helped them win a ton of games, and I believe 3 Super Bowls during his time there. I'm a believer in what
helped Kansas City win a ton of games. Now, I do think Mike Borgonzi is a great GM, and I'm glad to have him. I'm not going to say great yet. I think he's a very promising GM. I will say it's a little ridiculous to say he helped them win this. When you got number 15 playing quarterback for you, I'm pretty sure you could employ me as one of your scouts, and it wouldn't matter because as long as he's taking the snaps, you got a shot, right?
Mike Borgonzi brings to the table. To me, the question marks, there's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. Huge number of roster holes. I think there's some question marks right now surrounding ownership. That was something that Eddie George, a legendary Titan, recently spoke on.
He did.
And so, we talked about how the Jets starts at the top with the Titans, who open a new stadium in a couple of years from right now. Like, they got to be sturdier at the top as well because the instability in this organization has been a problem. It's time for them to settle on whoever it is at coach and give the coach,
Facts.
Mike Borgonzi, and of course Cam Ward a runway to build something because I do believe they can build something in this AFC South.
I agree. I think that's very fair. I think it's fair to question the people at the top. I think it's fair to say that they've got to hire the right people and stick with them. I think it's fair to say that things feel very topsy-turvy in the organization, and if things are going to settle down, the people at the top got to settle down. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think Borgonzi's the key there. And I think when you have a GM who has been around winning and has contributed to that, and now he's there picking that coach, who's that coach going to be? And Cam Ward's development is going to be critical. And that's obviously, when you think about this division that they're in, and what the Indianapolis Colts were able to do with Daniel Jones and what they're doing with Daniel Jones. And you think about where Jacksonville is with Trevor Lawrence, he's not what we thought he would be. And then Houston with C.J. Stroud. This gives you a chance to say Cam Ward, even though we're in the AFC, this division, I think we can develop him, and he's certainly shown flashes of brilliance, and he's been sloppy. He's been a little reckless, which we know he can be. Reckless with the football, fumbles, putting the ball in harm's way. He's done that far too.
That's true. I will just say that, like, a rookie being sloppy and careless with the ball, let's not act like that's unheard of. And also, there are things that you can get away with in college football that you cannot get away with in the NFL. Caleb Williams has had to learn that. Other quarterbacks have to learn that. And Cam Ward, there were some things that he did in college that he got away with that we knew, hey, he's got to get that out of his system. It's been 9 games. I mean, he's halfway through his rookie season. These things do take time. Sometimes it takes time. I don't know how many times I've got to come on here and say it doesn't always look like Jaden Daniels last year or CJ Stroud the year before that. Sometimes it takes a minute. And we don't like that because we want our, air fryer dinners that are made in 5 minutes. We want our TikTok content that gives us exactly what we want in less than 10 seconds. We're not used to having to be patient with things in our society today. When you look at the situation Cam's in, he's got to mature, he's got to grow, he's got to take care of the ball more. He's not the first rookie quarterback that's had to do that. Like, he's not the first rookie quarterback that's needed to get some bad habits out of his system. And so I think also when you talk about Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud and you say, oh man, I wish it could look like them. Yeah, but what have they done since then? I mean, let's just start talking about that. Has CJ Stroud lived up to what he was his rookie year since then? No. Jaden Daniels only in his sophomore season. I really like Jaden Daniels. I like CJ Stroud, except for the fact that he plays for Houston, who's a rival of the Titans. But Jaden Daniels, his sophomore year has been a disappointment. Injuries and just that same magic hasn't been there. So everybody wants that rookie Jaden Daniels, rookie CJ Stroud, but then let's talk about what happened to those guys since then, because it hasn't been nearly as pretty since that rookie year.
Much, but he's a rookie and he'll learn, hopefully. And he did that same thing in college. There was some head scratchers say, why did you do that? Cam sometimes tries to do too much, but the arm talent's undeniable. That's why he went.
Why you got to get the right people to coach him.
Like Cam Ward coming out, but certainly the offensive line's got to. They got to figure that group out, Field. That group's got to be solid and consistent and give Cam a chance back there. And catching the football's been an issue. I mean, drop passes
everywhere. Oh my God.
I mean, this league, Cleveland and certainly in Tennessee, drop passes have really affected these offenses, and that's why they are where they are. But catch the
big time. I mean, that's facts. It's one thing to look at the stat sheet at the end of the game, but there's plenty of instances for the Titans and apparently for the Browns as well, like drop passes are plaguing this offense. And he's right about the offensive line too. I don't really know what you do because obviously Skoronski and Latham, they're here for the foreseeable future. There's your left guard, right tackle. Lloyd Cushenberry has been decent at best at center. He's here on a 4-year deal. You could come back with him, but I understand if you want to go in a new direction. Right guard, that's going to be a need. Left tackle, you're kind of in no man's land with Dan Moore. I think you got to go with him again. He's been decent at best, terrible at worst.
Ball when you do put a beautiful throw out there, catch the football, and that's certainly what they're paid to do. And in those cases, they've been some disappointing moments there. But for Tennessee, I'm with you, Cam. Cam's shown that he can be a really good quarterback if he fixes certain things with the mindset of just, like I say, far too reckless at times.
They got to go find this year's Mike Vrabel, which maybe that's unfair to suggest that Mike Vrabel
should have never left. Bottom line, Mike Vrabel should still be the head coach of Tennessee. Yeah, there's no question. He should be the head coach of Tennessee. They should have never let him go.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with him now because it's like, look at what the Titans have done since they got rid of him and look at what he's doing in New England. I mean, it's hard to sit here and be like, no. I mean, look, I hear them now saying, we need a leader. We need to get somebody to come in and instill a culture. And it's like, so you're pretty much saying you want to go get Vrabel. You want to go get a coach like Vrabel, right?
And now guess what? We'll see moving forward. What happens with my Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh? What happens if they don't make, remember Andy Reid was in Philly, it was kind of a mutual, let's move partways, goes to Kansas City. John, you imagine if John Harbaugh, if you want to say we need a change, we just need a change for the sake of change. John Harbaugh, hey, what about Miami?
John Harbaugh? I'm listening. My ears are perked up. I am paying attention, Mel. Methinks yes.
John Harbaugh. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, you're speaking the right language.
I'm just
here,
saying that that's
in terms
a,
of,
and
like,
the Ravens have a ray of hope now. I wore purple, kind of.
Yeah, I that's the thing. I think the Ravens are going to recover. I think the Ravens are going to be fine, and I think John Harbaugh's not leaving. I think the Ravens, looking at their schedule, they're probably making the playoffs. And so I don't think John Harbaugh's leaving. But what if what if the Steelers got to the playoffs and were a one and done again, and they mutually part ways with Mike Tomlin? Ooh. Oh boy. Woo! I'm starting to feel a tingling sensation.
Let's go like this, okay? A little purple. The Ravens, purple Northwestern. The Ravens have a little hope now. Tyler Huntley got it done. Lamar Jackson got Miami with the short week. Coming up tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. Bottom line is, with the Steelers' struggles, Ravens have hope. But if things go awry, even with that hope, and it just doesn't work out, you never know. You never know in this league what's going to happen. So we'll see on that. But there's a lot of organizations that have to pick the right guy, Tennessee being number one on that list. Get the right guy to maximize what Cam Ward can do.
I was saying you're speaking the right language, not because I think that John Harbaugh deserves to lose a job or will lose a job or anything of that sort. More so that if I am one of these teams in the market for a head coach, Mike Vrabel had a track record of showing that he can get the job done as a head coach. And sometimes there is an element of uncertainty when you hire just the buzzy assistant coach who coordinates the best offense or the best defense. The coordinator job is incredibly impactful. It's also decidedly different from being a head coach. There is much more that goes on the plate of a head coach than just being a coordinator. But I'm glad we agree, though, that Tennessee has the most optimism, and that is driven largely by the general manager and the quarterback that are now in place in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So Field has them at number 5. They would currently have the 3rd pick if the draft were held today. And again, Mel has New Orleans at 5.
It's moved up to 2 since then.
At great length earlier. So those are the rebuilds as we have them. Before we wrap up today's podcast, Mel has a few players who smashed in week 9.
Okay, so I agree with everything they said. I think, things are bad right now, but if you're looking for optimism, I think Cam Ward's showing you a lot of things that show you he can be something with proper coaching and with talent around him. Let's help this kid. Whether you like the draft pick or not, whether you're as encouraged by Cam as I am or as they are, he was a first overall pick. You got to build around him. Can we all agree on that? Let's be realistic here. You picked him first overall. You don't give him a year and then say, no. Let's live in the real world for a second. In the real world, you got to build around this kid. You got to give this kid the best coaching you can and the best talent around him, and then see. He hasn't been given a fair shot yet. As a rookie, it's hard enough. It's definitely hard when you're with the talent that he has or the lack of talent that he has around him. The coaching is awful. But with Callahan, without Callahan, it's just not a very good staff. And so you have a quarterback that you can be excited about, I think, personally. And then I think you have a GM in Mike Borgonzi that you can be excited about. That's 2 big pieces of the puzzle. If you can get Amy to calm down and get Amy hey, Amy, we're going to hire this coach in January, and you need to just let it be. Like the Beatles told you, let it be. Just give it time. New stadium coming. Let's just take a deep breath and give this thing time to blossom. I think that's what you have to do. And it all centers around the head coach. You got a good GM, I think. You've got a promising young quarterback. You need the right coach. And we'll see if the Titans can get him in January. We got plenty of time to talk about that. But let me know what you think. Titans rebuild underway. Bye.